Welcome to episode number 295 of the Keep Up Podcast,
where this is the only backlog worth completing. Meaning all of our podcasts.
Right.
I just wanted to be clear.
Would it include, all right, let's say you just started listening to the Keep Up Podcast.
Okay.
You just discovered us.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, shoot, they're a YouTube channel as well. Mm-hmm. What do you include in your completion of the Keep Up?
Oh, God.
Are you like, all right, I got to listen to all the podcasts, but also I'll watch their old videos?
Yeah. I mean, have you ever done that with any YouTube channel?
That's a good question.
Gone back to the beginning and then listened to all the podcasts?
Podcasts, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with podcasts, even though they're rough around the edges, I always start at the beginning.
But YouTube's a little bit different because when once people find their stride, you're like, especially if you're a new viewer, you get used to that, and then you go to old videos and you're like,
Right. I think it's better to start off with the newer stuff for YouTube and then work your way back, because then you have a great appreciation for them, and the older stuff you're like, oh, I get what they were trying to do. Yeah. And it's fun to see them younger. And,
right. That's true. So I have done that, but more with podcasts, I think, than YouTube channels.
Okay.
I think. What about you? Do you do that?
Pretty similar. I've done it to a couple channels where I've liked their newer stuff, so I'm like, oh, I'll go back and watch their early stuff. So not as much recently, but when I was younger, I would go through full YouTube channels.
Back when Tim was a baby.
When I was younger.
What's that song?
When I was younger.
When I was a young boy. My father. I'm probably nailing all the notes. You know who that is?
My Chemical Romance.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Sometimes it just takes a little sip.
Speaking of taking little sips, welcome to the Keep Up Podcast, where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
And we talk about all the things we consume, be it media or food, and let you know if you should keep it on your list of things to get into or not.
If you want to open it up like a present,
that's right,
or keep it closed until a rainy day.
When's the last time you went to the doctor?
Oh, God.
How often do you go for a checkup?
Never.
I don't either, man.
No, the last time I went, other than a hospital visit for my colitis.
Yeah.
I say it like it's a continuing issue. It's cleared up. I can poop fine.
Relax, guys. He's fine.
But no, the last time I went was high school. My senior year of high school.
Wow.
You had to, at least, this is what I was told. I don't know if it was actually a rule.
For context, Tim is 57 years old.
Hey, I'm 57 and a half. But yeah, I went for a checkup because I guess you had to do it. Maybe because we moved, and every time you go to a new school, you need a new checkup.
I do think they require that.
Or did you just had to do it every year? Do the kids have to get a physical every year for school?
I mean, I don't know if for school. They definitely do it every year. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's for school to make sure they don't have a zombie virus or something.
Yeah, and bring it into school.
So yes,
that was the last time I went. My logic or idea with medical professionalism, if you will. Mm-hmm. That's a great sentence.
Is what you don't know can't hurt you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna die, I'd rather it just be a surprise. I don't want to walk in and be like, Tim, you got a week to live. I'm like, you didn't have to tell me.
My fear is the doctor just opts out. You're like, anything else, doctor? And they're like, you're fine.
You're fine.
Nothing. You'll see.
Dude, that would be crazy. That's discount doctors right there, where they have the choice to tell you.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
My fear though is I finally go one day and they're like, if you came a week earlier,
you would have been fine.
You'd be fine.
And that's the thing. It's you're screwed if you don't.
Yeah.
And you're not screwed if you do.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
If you go, you're good. If you don't go, you're not good.
I thought you were going with the damned if you do, damned if you don't thing.
No, because I know better. And I know if you go to the doctors, it's fine.
I get jealous of people who are like, yeah, my doctor, I have a really good relationship with my doctor, so they know me, they know my body, they know when something's acting up. I have to meet one and be like, hey, can you not suck?
Yeah, can you be a good doctor? I still have the same doctor I did when I was in high school.
When I was a young boy.
But he was like 60 at the time, so I don't know how he's still a doctor.
Is he still alive?
Apparently.
Your PCP is dead now.
I don't know. It's well, like when I went to the hospital, they connected because they didn't have a profile on me because I never go to the doctor.
Yeah,
so
they're
like, when was the
here.
last time you went? And so they connected my old files or whatever and connected me to the same doctor. So if I go to the doctor's office, it's gonna be the same guy.
Can you imagine having not gone for long enough that they're like, "Sir, your doctor passed away 8 years ago."
I don't know why they said he's still your doctor. He's not around anymore.
He's been no one's doctor for many
years.
Let's just update your file real quick.
Yeah. So we'll see when I go at some point.
Yeah, I gotta go at some point.
I want to go just same with the dentist. Like, I just want to go once and be like, okay, here's your problems, fix them, and I'll see you in another 10 years.
Yeah, that sounds good. I kind of want to do that too, but I don't have insurance. So.
That is the big problem is insurance.
It's probably not that expensive to go.
No.
I'm sure I've spent more money in like one trip to the movie theater
than
it would cost for me to go to the doctor.
Sometimes it's free too. You walk in, they're like free checkup.
Yeah.
And then whatever.
When does that happen?
I don't know. It's just like a thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You haven't been to the doctor since high school. Why would I listen to your advice?
I see it on commercials, and they're like, come in for a free checkup.
Yeah.
And sign up today.
Why don't you go into those?
Because it's effort.
Your effort.
The other thing is a phone call. I'm not calling anybody.
For what?
To make an appointment.
No, dude, walk-ins.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, hey, check me out.
Yeah. How do I look?
How do I look?
Just at the counter?
Is this a checkup?
You look good to me.
Brett, I can't believe you didn't ask why I have 2 drinks here.
I don't ask anymore, dude. I just assume your water requirement it just goes up.
Does this look like water in there?
Gosh, it does not.
It does not. Do you dare take a sip?
No, absolutely not.
He's too afraid.
It looks like oatmeal. What is this?
So I have started a new venture, a new breakfast venture to try to
breakfast, dude. It's 1:30 in the afternoon.
Breakfast into afternoon venture.
All right.
Where I am a while ago. Let's start the story at the beginning, guys.
A while ago.
I sounded like an old guy there.
That was the sound of like a transition, like
like an Arthur, like woo woo.
Yeah, but your sound is just.
So mom, I believe it was for her birthday.
Okay.
Got a blender to make a bunch of fruit smooth, or it might have been Christmas. Anyways, to make a bunch of like fruit smoothies and stuff to eat healthier.
Sure.
And so she bought like 8 bags of different frozen fruits so you can blend it all together, make smoothies, all that stuff.
Yeah.
She hasn't touched them. And so I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I want breakfast, but I don't want to make breakfast. I don't want to have like a lot of calories and stuff, trying to be better about that. So I was like, why don't I start making smoothies?
Yeah, that's a good call.
And so this is only my second smoothie, but
of the day or ever?
Ever.
Okay. Cool. So it's very new venture.
Very new venture.
A very new breakfast to afternoon venture.
Yes.
Oddly enough, I started doing the same thing about, 2-3 weeks ago.
What are you, a freak?
Yeah.
Dude.
What?
What do you think of them?
They're great. Depends what you put in them.
Yeah. So mine's base level. I do almond milk and then the fruit, whatever the combination. This one is mango, pineapple, green tea, and one other thing.
Interesting.
Little like frozen blocks, and then you put it in, mix it all together.
Ice? Are you describing ice?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm saying
Little
they're frozen. That's what
blocks.
That's.
I don't know what you would call them here in the States.
They're liquid originally, but then they get frozen.
Still describing ice.
No, I was going along with the joke, Brett.
Oh, I thought you were trying to further explain.
No. I hate my life.
That's fantastic.
And then protein powder and chia seeds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's just like a big thing.
Mine are similar.
What's in yours?
So, but I have experimented. So if I want a fruity one, I will do, same thing. Frozen fruit. That's it.
No milk?
No, frozen fruit, almond milk, protein powder. Oh, and a spoonful of honey. Do you have honey in the house?
Oh, maybe.
My guy. Throw some honey in there.
Honey? I want to throw peanut butter in there.
And Greek yogurt. Peanut butter is also great, but I made a peanut butter coffee smoothie.
Oh.
Yeah, which was weird, but pretty delicious.
So was the base the milk, and then what else did you add?
Almond milk, coffee. No, I think I just used the coffee. I did 2 like K-Cups, coffee, peanut butter, and then vanilla protein powder. Mm-hmm. Mixed it up.
That sounds good.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And are you finding it holds you over for a while?
Yeah, I feel pretty like satiated throughout the day.
nice.
I look forward to solid food.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it doesn't fill the void of like having a good breakfast.
Sure.
But it does nutrient wise, and it's way more fruits and stuff than I get at all. So
Yeah.
I'm almost empty. But yeah, it's been interesting. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm jumping back and forth between this and the oats, the overnight oats.
Yes, oats. Mm-hmm. Another thing that Mom got
Yeah.
that she's probably not touched.
That ultimately I will be the one to consume.
Yeah.
Granted, I am making Mom smoothies too, so she's having them as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
No
'Cause she
oats,
did.
though.
I came over a few weeks ago and she was like, "Look at all this fruit I got." And I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
I felt like she's trying to sell them to me. Like, I got these kind.
We've had them seriously for like months. We've had them for a long time. So I'm like, we got to go through these.
One of them, I swear, she was like, "Do you think this one looks good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bag of fruit."
Do you want me to have it?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I'm like, "Are you telling me you're never going to eat these?" And so, yeah, it was pretty funny. So I'm glad that you guys are going through them.
yeah. We'll see how it goes.
If there's one thing I hate, it's wasted frozen fruit.
Yeah, that shouldn't be wasted.
Dude, I haven't shaved in a long time.
Oh, look at it.
I know.
Dude, it's coming in thickness.
Yeah, I think I'm going to shave tonight.
Oh, well, that was a buzzkill.
Or I could leave it. I don't know.
I don't know. Do it. Experiment, Brett.
Wait, this is the only thing I think I'm doing on video this week, so I guess I'll wait. But I have shows coming up.
So?
Can't be this heavily
Be the
bearded.
Hairy Mangler. Change your name to Animatronic the Hairy Mangler.
Gosh, I can't make the name longer.
Animatronic the Hairy Mangler Abolisher.
I'm already getting excluded from credits because of the length of my name.
Why? Well,
Wait,
they should just...
Harry Mangler. Abolisher. All right, I guess it's the same.
If we're talking syllables.
Which we are.
Okay. But that's the only new thing going on in my life.
Well, I'm glad there's something, Tim.
Yeah, I try to keep it interesting.
You need to keep it interesting. Mm-hmm. You really do.
All right, I'm gonna save us. We're gonna go into movies.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
There's nothing caps a sentence in a conversation in person like just slapping a part of the body.
Yep.
You sure do.
You sure do.
Mine sound naked because I'm wearing shorts, not
Yeah.
because I'm not wearing anything.
You guys should see what happens when we record. It's madness. Speaking of madness, Brett, I need to get up on my soapbox
Get up on it.
and complain
Get down on it.
about a niche little problem I have.
Niche.
Niche. During Amazon Prime Day.
Niche.
Some people say niche.
I say niche.
I say niche.
Does anyone say niche?
God, I hope not. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
I don't like the way it sounds. Niche. Niche
I
feels
don't-
like
I don't like niche.
No.
Some people say niche.
Nietzsche, the philosopher.
Yeah.
Was he a philosopher? Sorry, I brought it up. Yeah, niche is the move, I think.
Yeah, niche.
So, what are you mad about?
So my niche little problem here is I want to own the entire Godzilla series
Yeah.
on DVD.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more relatable for the people of the world than what you just said. Keep going.
Yeah, everybody wants it.
Yep.
So on Amazon Prime Day, they had a deal.
Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Oh.
No, he says rock your body. I was trying to think of a way to replace it with something Godzilla related.
Rock your lizard tonight. I don't think I like that one.
No.
We'll workshop
I'm gonna have
it.
to censor that, I think. All right, so you want to own the whole Godzilla series?
Yes, on DVD exclusively.
Exclusively on DVD. Okay. Keep going.
Well, just in general, even if I get it on Blu-ray. But this is where the problem comes in.
All right.
So there's a collection on Amazon Prime Day that I got. It was $10.
Yeah.
Right over there. Grab it. Under Dragon Ball Z, straight ahead, the 3 Dragon Ball Z movies. Yep, it's the green one.
Okay, you got the Toho era Godzilla.
Yes. Now, if you notice, it says Volume 2 on the front,
Oh, I didn't notice.
which It's fine. I'm like, okay, I'll just get Volume 1. Apparently, Volume 1 is only available as a collection that has been discontinued.
Ooh.
So you can get Volume 2 all over the place,
Yeah.
but Volume 1 only exists as part of the collection. That includes Volume 2, but is discontinued, and it's expensive. Not crazy,
yeah?
but you're like 80, 90 bucks for, which essentially I'm just paying for the first one. Which that includes, the early Godzilla movies. This is kind of more later Godzilla movies, at least in the Toho era.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. I can try to figure out how to get that. Whatever.
How much was this one?
That one was $10 on Prime Day.
Crazy. Because these are like, it's, some of these collections, like when you get, I think there was I don't know if it was Universal Monsters, but it was like a, classic monster movie collection.
Yep.
And it's all like B and C tier. This is like, it's Mechagodzilla, Godzilla 2000. There was another one on here that's like, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That one's because it's Mothra and Ghidorah. So it's not like that's a good price is my point.
Right. For even if these movies are just god awful, I mean, it's Godzilla, right?
Godzilla.
Look how they're stacked on top of each other.
That's a sign of a good DVD collection when they're all just haphazardly tossed on top of each other.
Dude.
The only way to top this is when they're in like multiple trays and the middle of every tray is shattered into pieces.
Oh yeah, and it's the double discs where there's no art and it's like two movies on one side. You flip it, it's the other two movies,
and you forever have no idea which one you're watching when you put it in.
You're just like
the text doesn't make any sense.
No.
So all right. The first one being like $80 or $90 is crazy.
Yeah, because you have to get in the collection. I couldn't find anybody selling it secondhand, really. So that's my first problem. My second problem is there currently is only one collection for the Showa era films, which is 1954 to 1975. So before this collection came out.
Oh, it's before that one.
Yeah. You sound surprised.
Well, I thought, is the Toho era like the original Godzilla movies?
No. The Showa era is.
Showa era is. Okay.
So there's one collection from Criterion that includes all of those movies. Other than that, you cannot find these movies anywhere. I guess, I don't know if they have like no official release for them. Now, when I say you can't find them anywhere, you can't own them. You can watch them streaming. I believe
they're all on HBO.
I think everything's on HBO. Or Max, right?
Max, yeah sorry.
So currently there's one collection that I found, and this is not. This is only on DVD. This collection's also on Blu-ray, but I also couldn't find anything on Blu-ray for any of these. So that's a huge issue.
How much is that one?
This collection here is $130. Oh, it's on sale, $112. Oof. Wow, which again isn't crazy.
It's not awful,
but I've never realized how if a movie only comes out through one source, like these movies, I'm surprised there wasn't a collection in like the early 2000s where it was just like, double packs of old Godzilla movies, or I can't find anything. It's this collection or nothing.
Weird.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
So my problem is I'm trying to own all these movies, and right now I had to pay a really high price for these collections.
Yeah.
Japan got a super collection of every Godzilla movie. It's called the Black Box. And it's awesome. It's just like this huge black, and every single one is all the Godzilla movies across.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't know if it's in English, though. I don't even know if it has subtidles because it was Japan exclusive. So
that's more of a collector's thing.
Yeah, more so than anything else. But so all
Can
that.
you get that? Like, what's the price on that?
That's on eBay. I don't know what the price is. Let me check.
I cut you off. You can finish, and I can
No.
look it up if you want.
Basically, I wanted to ask: have you struggled finding any collections because of history or rights to the movies, like jumping around or something like that?
That happened more with games for me when I was trying to collect all the Resident Evil games. There's still a couple, like I actually forget if I got my hands on, like going through, having a list of the games and then realizing some of them were...
That's the collection that has part 1 for the Toho collection. So it's $110.
Oh, and this is...
part 2.
Oh,
so they
it's both
only
of them.
sell the second one. I don't know why they didn't redistribute the first one.
Do you think maybe they weren't supposed to? Like, did you just buy this?
I'm pretty sure it was from an official source.
Interesting.
Because there was multiple.
Wow.
Yeah. So there could be other ones that are cheaper. It was just like an initial look, and I'm like, I just need to find Volume 1, which I haven't even seen what the art looks like. Like, I see the collection. Oh, there it is. How much is that one?
55.
Oh,
Yeah, still pretty spicy.
Still.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember coming across like Survivor 2, Resident Evil Survivor 2, and realizing that was like a Japanese release only.
So you had to get it like special ordered, or
Yeah, I forget if I even bought it or not. I'll have to look. One thing that just popped into mind. Remember how Marvel was consistently doing the Phase collections?
Yeah, and you were grabbing those.
They just stopped.
Really?
Yeah, I have 1 and 2. One is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. briefcase.
Right.
And then 2 is the Guardians, I forget what it's called, but it's like the space rock that has the Infinity Stone on the inside of it.
Not the Tesseract,
No, the Tesseract is part of the first one, actually. You get
Yeah.
a Tesseract with it.
I can't remember.
Me neither, but it's got the Infinity Stone inside,
Yeah.
and it, you can turn it on and stuff. But those were really cool because they collected all of the, like, I'm trying to think where they came from originally, but there's like shorts that I don't know if they played.
I think they were part of the DVD or the Blu-ray release. They would always include it like one of the shorts because I don't think they played it before a movie or anything.
No, right?
Oh, is it Final Wars? No, that's a different Godzilla movie. Complete.
That's the other thing. There are so many Godzilla.
That's the thing. I don't even know the proper list. Oh, it's called the Final Box. And so it's every Godzilla movie in one super set.
That is real cool.
It's super cool. But yeah, I don't think any of them's in English.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't mind watching the sub version, but I don't know if the sub version is included. But yeah, so trying to find all these movies, because I did see another set that has a bunch of the Toho era ones in it with a couple other random Godzilla movies, but I didn't want to get one that had a bunch of movies I already had.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, currently I can't complete the set unless, I fork over 100, whatever, which is not the biggest deal.
No.
But I'm just
ideal.
surprised, especially because I'm looking for it on DVD. I'm really surprised I can't find older sets. Like, could people not watch Godzilla until these sets came out and that was it?
Yeah, how was anyone watching them?
Because a lot of these things have like older collections, like all these movies and stuff. But you can get everything post Godzilla, like American Godzilla 2000. You get all that stuff.
There were some old like
or 1999. Anyways,
what? Oh, yeah, the Matthew Broderick one.
Yes.
Yeah, everything after that. Although, well, yeah, that's what this is. Because didn't some of these come out in the late 90s?
Well, Godzilla 2000, I think, was in 2000.
Oh, that's right. That makes a lot of sense.
But then there's like this set here that has Godzilla versus Mothra, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Monster Zero, Godzilla's Revenge, and Terror of the Mechagodzilla. Which some of those are part of that.
I don't think so.
Because this one's a 5-disc set, $50 or
Against
$45.
Versus. No, I don't think any of those are on here.
Oh, sweet. So this exists.
The newest one in this collection is 2004.
Oh, wow. And what's that one?
Final Wars.
Okay. Final Wars.
But yeah, if you do want to watch them, they are all on Max. I started watching them there because I watched the original Godzilla, and then I think I started the second one. I was like, I'm going to watch all of them, and I watched like 1.5.
Dude, that's the problem. I'm going to get all these and watch 2 of them and never watch the rest. So but yeah, that's my current dilemma right now. Is I want to collect them all, but it's not
tough.
It's not as easy as one would think.
I think the only other thing that comes to mind is I was trying to get a hold of the movie. Actually, there were 2 movies from the 90s that I wanted to get my hands on. One of them was Sidekicks with Chuck Norris.
I don't think I've heard of it.
And I could only find it on VHS.
I wonder if they're on VHS. I didn't even think to look.
Oh yeah, that might be a cool way to own it. Though could be in collector territory. That could be expensive.
Yeah.
And the other one was Airborne. It's like a rollerblading movie from the 90s. It rules. And I don't know if that's on DVD. It's another one. I have both of them on VHS. I found them
that's good
random,
at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were just like really weird, like not weird, but they're not like a popular. Maybe they were. I'm trying to think. What's the kind of like cult following movies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That there's not like a wide.
There were so many movies like that in the 90s where it was like they came out and had a VHS release and nobody ever thought or talked about them again.
And some of them had like, some movies like that, I don't know, you think of like a Bloodsport, Kickboxer, other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, I guess. Like they have always had a cult following. So there's always been some way to watch it. But then there's like these kind of niche, like side release type things. Like Sidekicks I knew about because my dad rented it. And it's essentially like a kid's movie, a kid's Chuck Norris movie. And so I watched it ad nauseum as a kid. And then Airborne used to be on TV a lot, and I loved it.
Was it like a Disney movie? No.
No, but that was like what I watched in lieu of what was the
Disney equivalent?
yeah.
The BMX one or
Brink.
the Brink? I don't remember the name of it, but
Brink.
Brink.
It was another rollerblading movie, but I didn't really watch that when I watched
Yeah.
Airborne. So there are some like that, but a whole collection like Godzilla, I'm surprised it's that difficult to find.
Yeah, that was the big surprise from it all. I'm like, I can't just like find it, especially because it's streaming everywhere. But I'm getting to the point where
Maybe that's why you can't find it.
because it's streaming, so nobody's like, we're not going to redistribute this. I mean, technically you can get them. Again, it just takes a little extra effort and extra money.
Another thing that's weird is all the like popular TV series that are all streaming.
Yep.
Do they all have DVD releases now or not really?
Some of them do, like the Netflix
just the big
exclusive ones. Yeah, like Stranger Things that all came out.
That's true. Yeah.
Daredevil that came out.
It did. Mm-hmm. Huh.
That had a Blu-ray release. So, but yeah, that is an interesting thing. Like, if streaming services go down, are those lost media the ones that didn't get turned into Blu-rays?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, other than like pirating, of course. But
yeah. I watched a video today about like top 10 games you can never play again, and it was just a bummer.
It's so
Like,
sad.
Yeah. It's real weird.
It's weird how it happens because it's usually music rights. They don't want to renew it, so they just remove the game. But yeah, some games I really like are you can't play. Marvel Blast Ultra being one of them on the Xbox 360. That never had another release and got removed from the store.
Wow, I forgot
Marvel
about that
vs. Capcom, the collection on Xbox 360. A lot of Xbox 360, PS3 era stuff.
Yeah.
Was there anything cool on there that was like?
I forget offhand, but there were a few like multiplayer. What was it called? Was it Rumbleverse?
Oh, the wrestling one?
Open world one, yep.
That one makes me sad. That was great.
Right. That's what they were talking about. Is like it's just any like online only, and that one like you can't play at all. But then they talked about Knockout City and how you can at least play. You can still play like a local game on that.
That was fun too.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm trying to think what else. There were a couple like open, what are they called? Like MMOs that you just can't. They shut it down because you just can't. Oh, the Destiny 2 campaign.
What, you can't play it anymore?
I don't think you can play it anymore.
Maybe it like got consumed in the because they had like a big relaunch update and all these DLCs and stuff.
It was an always online, and they haven't found a way, if I'm remembering correctly, to make it so that you can play it offline. So there's just no way to play it. And then another one that was on there was, I think, Overwatch.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch 2 essentially replaced it.
Yeah. So if you have a physical copy of Overwatch, the game, and you put it in a console, it downloads Overwatch 2.
Right. Which is so weird.
So weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically, I mean, they changed some things, but yeah, it's weird that like one of the biggest games ever just completely doesn't exist because there's the new version.
But at least Godzilla still exists.
Exactly. And you know what else still exists?
What?
For better or for worse? Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Which one?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's so many of them.
Mark Wahlberg, directed by Tim Burton.
Oh, yeah, okay.
2001, Planet of the Apes.
2001.
I've never seen it before. Other than a kid, I would glance as like my dad was watching or uncle or someone. So I've seen bits and pieces, but didn't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Pretty just all right.
That's how I'm pretty positive I've seen it. Mm-hmm. Is the ending...
The ending is, I think, the talking point about this movie. It's like one of the most controversial things in movies. Not because it's like it does anything like what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial in the sense of like bad things, but it just makes no sense.
Does it involve a kid?
No.
All right.
Thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right, carry on.
So yeah, this movie, I would say the visual effects are really cool. The monkeys look really good.
Yeah, I remember them looking really good.
Yeah, costume design was top tier.
It's all practical, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
all practical. And it is essentially a remake of the original, which, you know, does kind of set your expectations like, oh, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? And I think that's where some of the problems come in because they try really hard to subvert expectations and do its own thing, which sometimes is pretty cool. Other times falls flat, which is unfortunate because I feel like it could have been really good.
Yeah.
And it needs to be it needed to be really good because where it ends off is super frustrating that there was never a sequel. Because it makes no sense. Major cliffhanger. and you just never know. You never know. There might be like a book or something. I had to see if
I
there's a
wonder.
way that they got the sequel out there. But yeah, the movie itself is it's fine. It's fine. I can't think of anything like outstanding with it other than the costume design.
But it wasn't like hard to watch.
No, not at all. Nope.
Do you see Tim Burton's signature on it at all? Because to me, that's a weird.
It's a weird combo.
Combination.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You said combo. I said combination.
Wow. It's like we're two different people.
Well,
But yeah, no, I didn't really see it. It felt like someone gave him a really big franchise and they're like, don't make it like you make a movie. Make it like make it like a blockbuster.
which does happen. Like, I wonder what the studio involvement was
yeah.
like. With
yeah,
that.
and how like I don't know. I mean, maybe the Tim Burton aspects are the wacky story parts. Like Tim Burton's but he doesn't well no, like Beetlejuice and stuff is pretty wacky. Like all of his stuff is pretty out there.
It is, but he's like a guy that you get because you like his style.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right, they wouldn't just pick him because like they want him to just because he's a good director per se, more so because he's unique, like different.
right. Yeah.
But no, I didn't really get that from this movie other than like the monkeys flying around. Like when they attack, they like jump like 10 feet in the air.
Like it feels like the kind of thing you could watch it and at the end be like, wait, Tim Burton directed that?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you wouldn't be watching it and be like, oh, this is definitely a Tim Burton movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark Wahlberg was fine. I didn't feel like his acting was good or bad. His character was a little stupid and not a great character.
Kind of vanilla.
Not vanilla, but he just like wasn't morally good. Like what he wanted to do was not right, I guess.
Which is interesting as like the protagonist or main character.
Not that they
I
always
guess.
have to be morally good, but it isn't interesting.
Is that kind of the thing though with Planet of the Apes? Like,
Yeah, I mean the original was like that too, where the guy wasn't necessarily there to deal with the monkeys' problems; he was there just to escape. And so that's what Mark Wahlberg's like. He's like, there's a lot of problems, like political problems with the monkeys and stuff, and he's like, I got no interest. I just want to get out of here. And there's a little bit of growth and stuff, but not enough where I'm like, I'm not satisfied, I guess, with how it ended and everything.
Sure.
I will say it's a keeper because it's not offensive in any way. Just the ending would make it a sleeper if cliffhangers frustrate you and things that don't make sense.
Particularly ones that never get solved.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just fair warning. The ending is, everyone says it's pretty rough. It is rough.
I want you to tell me what it is.
I can tell you what it is after.
All right.
But yeah, as far as the movie goes, like it was cool. It was still, I wouldn't consider it a remake. I'd consider it a new one. It didn't feel like a remake at all with the direction it went. But I just want to watch it because I want to watch the newest Planet of the Apes movie. Not that they have any correlation. I was just like, well, I don't want to watch the previous series. I just want to watch one.
That's how we work, folks.
That's it. We just jump around. Backlog, cleaned up, cross it off the list.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I had in movies.
Are you sure?
No, I have other things in movies. Did you watch anything, though?
Yeah, just a couple of throwbacks.
Yeah.
I watched The Dark Knight. I showed it to the
Nice.
kids for the first time.
Keeper, sleeper?
It's all right.
Okay. Yeah, I give it like a 5.
Out of what?
5.
Yeah, that's true. It's so good.
It's so good.
I was telling because the kids have never seen it.
Yeah.
And I was telling them how sad my initial viewing was because it was so good. And Heath Ledger had just passed away like before it came out, obviously, and watching it and being like, I'll never get to see more of that Joker.
Yeah.
Is one of the saddest things I've ever experienced in the theater.
Do you think we would have seen him again as the Joker?
Maybe not.
I mean, I assume the direction of where the story was going could have really gone anywhere. But
I don't know. I actually don't know anything. I'm sure there's info out there if there were, but I don't know anything about potential plans for him to have been in Rises or anything like that.
if I recall, I think the Joker was originally supposed to die at the end of The Dark Knight. I think that was the intention. But I don't know if it got changed because he passed away or if it got changed before. But that was at least one of the rough drafts was he would die. So I assume
it seems more in Nolan's wheelhouse to have not had him return at all. Mm-hmm. But I guess just even having, obviously, Heath Ledger, the actual person, is more of the tragic loss. But so along those lines, like it just would have been cool to hear him talk more about the role and see what else he was going to do.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing he'd ever done. And just the reality, like, I remember walking out of the theater and I was like, that was unbelievable. And I can't believe Heath Ledger's gone. Like,
Crazy.
So crazy.
So insane.
But yeah, it was really interesting watching it with the kids. They had never seen it. And it's just, I haven't watched it in a long time. And yeah, it's amazing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, what do I need to say about The Dark Knight? It's one of the greatest movies ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the kids think of it?
They loved it. Yeah, they were. It's long.
Yes.
It's such a long movie. So keeping their attention, there was a moment where I paused it, and the time shows up, and Jazz was like, "There's still an hour left," and I was like, "Yeah, dude." It is amazing how much happens in that movie.
Yeah.
Like by the time you get to the two boats that the Joker's rigged up, it's like.
It is weird. It almost feels like two movies.
It does.
Like there is like what feels like a natural ending point, and then like a new story begins, but it's all connected to the main story going on.
Yeah, and there are so many subplots that are all handled really well and well balanced.
Yep.
Because one of the I don't know if we've probably talked about this aspect of The Dark Knight before, but one big problem with I guess particularly superhero movies where they're trying to put in, I'm sure there are other examples of this too, video game movies have done it. They try to put in multiple references or characters that it's like you just don't have time. It's the biggest problem with Spider-Man 3 is, all the characters aren't handled well because they're just kind of shoehorned in. Venom. And I think with The Dark Knight, one of its like shining achievements is that everyone's handled properly.
Yes.
And the stories are all wrapped up in a way that's like, wow, yeah, I had enough time with each of those characters, but it makes it almost 3 hours long. So.
Right. So that's the trade-off.
But yeah, the kids really liked it. The next day, I wasn't sure because Jazz was like a little quiet throughout it, and he gets antsy. Like it's hard to get him to say. He's like, how long is this?
Skibbity brain.
Yeah, 100%. But the next day, he was on a call with his cousin. He was like, watch The Dark Knight. Have you seen it? And he was like, no, how was it? And Jazz was like, it's one of the best movies ever made. I'm like, all right, nice. He gets it.
I wonder if like some of the more adult concepts like resonate with him or kind of go over his head and he just likes to see the Batman stuff. Because
I don't know.
Watching it later, I appreciated it more because I got more of what was going on than when it came out. But I still enjoyed it when it came out. I remember seeing it in IMAX, and I was like, oh, yeah.
It's one of the few movies that I've ever stood up in a theater for. When the truck flips over, I stood up.
Because it's crazy.
It's insane.
It's, man.
Still exciting.
Yeah.
Watching it and anticipating each scene. And then I rewatched Big Daddy is on Netflix right now.
Oh,
for Sandler fans, you've seen Big Daddy, right?
I have, but it's one of those that it's been a very long time.
Okay.
That I need to revisit. Like I've been watching the other ones.
I know you had like really wrong opinions about Happy Gilmore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You should watch Big Daddy while it's on Netflix.
Okay, I will.
It is.
I'll watch it even if it's not on Netflix.
It's so good.
Get it on DVD right next to Godzilla.
It used to make me tear up. Almost just cried this time.
Wow. Because you're a big daddy.
I am. Yeah.
I didn't like saying that sentence.
I didn't like hearing it. So yeah, that's it. Watch some older stuff.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
going back with the
great.
comfort movies.
Yeah. Keepers. All around. I guess that's it, dude.
I guess at the end of the podcast, we're here.
No, I got nothing in movies. We can't stop at 38 minutes. That's crazy.
I can talk about one more movie then.
Yeah, what do you got?
The Garfield movie.
Okay, I'm confused about Garfield movies.
Okay.
There was one that came out a while ago with Bill Murray, right?
Yes.
And then is there a newer one?
There's a newer one called The Garfield Movie, and it's fully animated.
Okay.
Which I thought it was Illumination, but upon watching it, I don't think it's Illumination. I didn't do my proper research, so I actually don't know who it's animated by.
Was there a bumper at the beginning that said Illumination?
Definitely not.
What did it say?
There was a lot. There was like 6 different bumpers.
Oh, okay.
And it was like neon.
No,
I'm kidding.
From the people who brought you Long Legs.
Long Legs.
The Garfield
movie. Yeah, so this was like it's definitely a kids movie for kids for sure.
Yeah.
Both from the jokes and the crazy antics that happen.
Sure.
So this is an origin of Garfield. You see him as a little kitty and his story of his father abandoning him.
Oh, dang.
And
That's
then
sad.
things happen throughout the movie that, it tells a story.
Is it all him as like a kitten?
No, it's just like the beginning part, and then it shows him getting adopted by John, and then him become Garfield as we know him now. One big thing about this movie is it really doesn't feel like a Garfield movie. it feels like you could put any cat there and it would do the same things. As far as like, he was very mobile. He was like jumping around and doing a lot of more athletic things that I wouldn't expect Garfield to do. He's usually pretty slow. And at the beginning, it was very Garfield-like. He would like, sit in chairs and lounge around and eat a ton of food and like do Garfield stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, as the movie progressed, he got into more like crazy antics. It like becomes a heist movie at one point, and there's like a big heist he has to do. And,
Weird.
Yeah, it's just like, it feels like a kid's movie that they're like, oh, let's put Garfield in this and make it a Garfield movie.
Yeah, well, like, why do they keep making Garfield movies?
Well, Garfield's great,
Yeah.
so that's the end of that.
I mean, I guess. I just feel like none of them have, like, caught.
How do you make a Garfield movie though? Like, we don't want to watch a cat sit for 2 hours and eat lasagna.
That might be funny.
But there was like the Garfield cartoon, Garfield and Friends back in the day.
Yeah.
And he wasn't super mobile in that, but it was a lot more talking. He would like.
So you have a real problem with his mobility in this movie.
I mean, he's like jumping off drones. He's like climbing up things.
It's like, it's the Sonic movie. It's just Garfield.
Yeah, but with
instead.
Garfield.
Why?
Yeah, but I guess I don't know what I want either. Like, you got to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
I want it to just be like 100 comic strips and made into a movie. So it's just 100 different scenes.
That's kind of how the show played out, right?
Yes.
Like, something would happen, and then it would just, like...
Cut to, like, the animal friends on the farm and stuff that.
Yeah.
Like, it was a couple different stories. So that
was fun.
kind of more of what I expected. And I don't remember the Bill Murray ones at all. So I want to revisit those to see if they are also... Because I remember seeing them dance. Like, they have that whole dance sequence and stuff. So
my strongest memory of that movie is Bill Murray as Bill Murray mentioning it in Zombieland.
yes.
That's like my biggest...
That's all we know.
why I remember that he was in a Garfield movie.
Yeah, I don't remember how it performed. It must have done well enough because there was another one. They did too, so...
There were two?
Yeah, the first one was Garfield Movie, and then Garfield the Two Crowns or something. A Tale of Two Kitties. Yeah, that's what it was.
The Two Crowns.
I don't know.
I thought that was too dramatic.
It's very intense for Garfield.
Garfield Legacy.
Also, Chris Pratt voices Garfield.
Really?
Really. Phones it in. It feels like he's just kind of reading lines, not really like...
Really?
Not like his Mario performance.
I was going to say, he crushed it in Mario.
It sounds like Chris Pratt playing Garfield. It doesn't sound like Garfield.
Okay.
There are some moments where it feels a little Garfield, like how jokes are delivered. And I will say that's a strong point is the jokes. Some of them are, again, more towards kids, but there's some just like flat out funny jokes, whether it's slapstick comedy or like a joke he makes about whatever situation's going on. Yeah. So there is Garfield sprinkled throughout, but not enough for it to feel like a Garfield movie.
Interesting.
That being said, it is a keeper. Family or not, it's still a fun watch.
Okay.
My personal liking of Garfield influenced my opinion a bit.
Garfield is pretty funny.
I like Garfield.
So is he mobile though? Because it's like an origin story. Like, is he not fat yet?
No, he's definitely fat. Right. They play a lot of fat jokes. Odie's interesting too because, and I guess that's kind of the case in the comics too. But he's very much like his assistant. He like helps Garfield do a bunch of things. Yeah. Throughout the whole movie, he's like making everything happen basically.
It's like Phineas and Ferb kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
Except is Odie British?
No, but one could say he is. He doesn't speak, so he's just Odie.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun romp. Long. It's 2 hours. Yeah, which for a Garfield movie is very bizarre.
Yeah.
And the story feels like it doesn't feel like it's too long, but it feels like it's two different stories. Like you get the big chunk at the beginning, like his origin and how he gets into the situation he gets into. Yeah. And then it's them dealing with the situation, but it takes them to a new location with new characters, and they all like, the heist. They try to do a heist. Yeah. And then when that concludes, it goes back to the main story with how he got to the heist point. So it's like it takes a break to do the heist, and then it goes back to the main story. So
weird.
It's a little weird in that regard, but again, good watch. I'd say like it's fun for family, fun for non-families. If you're a Garfield fan, you might be like me and have some gripes. Mm-hmm. Garfield, he should just be in a wheelchair because he shouldn't move as much as he does.
I have a question. What's a non-family?
If you don't have kids, if you don't have kids, there's no family.
Fun for families, fun for non-families, families and non-families.
Sometimes they're just one person.
Yeah, I guess I get that.
Are you a family if you're one person?
Yeah, I don't know.
If everyone around you dies, are you still a family?
Wow.
Does a family still exist? You can create a family.
Dude, death is sad, huh?
But are you family? when there is one.
Are
Death
you
is sad.
Are you family when there's one?
I don't know.
I heard something about death today.
Go ahead. Death is like meth. When you try it once, it's over.
Wow. I mean, I guess.
Is that what you heard?
No, it wasn't like an anecdote.
No.
It was a story about someone dying.
Oh. Do you want to tell it?
Nah.
Well, you know what's better than death?
What?
Sonic music. But also video games.
Video games.
He said okay.
Okay.
We're in video games?
Whoa, we're in video games. All right, I've been doing a lot of talking. So, Brett, talk about your game that involves like a big yellow thing in the sky and you had to do stuff.
You go first.
Okay. So,
I can go.
yeah, go.
I started a game the other day. I forget why I started it. Because I have other games to play.
That's really the only reason you start other things is when you have a ton of games to play, but you don't want to play any of them, so you start something new.
Yeah, kinda. Well, but I really wanted to finish. Little Kitty Big City is not that big of a game.
I can't believe you haven't finished it yet.
I know. Well, I sat down to play it, and I legitimately started falling asleep. I don't know why I was so tired.
Dude, what time was it?
Like 3 p.m. I got home from work like kind of early, and I was like, I'm gonna play a game for a little bit. And I was tired. I don't know why. I've been sleeping a lot.
Well, work is a lot of work.
I guess that's true. So I was going through Game Pass because I'm like, man, there's so many games I haven't played, and you're
paying for it every month.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'll just start something shorter because it's shorter, but then it's not. I'm like, I have access to like
Everything, ever.
everything, AAA titles.
Yep.
So I didn't start a AAA title, but
No.
I started this game called Close to the Sun.
I don't think I've heard of it.
All right, so far I'm about 3-4 chapters deep, and it's essentially so far it's like a walking simulator.
Okay.
And it's first person, and you get a letter from your sister, and you go to this ship that she's on, and it's similar to like a Titanic. It's this big deal that the ship is taking off from port, and you find out it has all these scientists on it, and nobody really knows what's going on. You're learning the story through finding these documents, and nobody really knows what's going on or why all these scientists are on this one ship. So you get to the ship, and it's like a ghost town. You can't find anybody. Your sister contacts you on this little radio. And as you're walking through, there's a couple of little jump scare moments where you'll see a shadow or you'll see someone run by a window, but you don't. Again, 3 chapters deep, I don't really know what I'm deling with yet. It's very Bioshock adjacent. It feels like a spin-off of Rapture. Old timey, lots of records. Like it's, I forget actually. Let me see if I can find out what year it takes place in. It came out in 2019, so the game is about 5 years old. What year is it? It takes place in 1897.
Oh wow!
During a technological arms race between Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison.
The Electric Bros.
Yeah. So Tesla is being. I don't know a lot about Nikola Tesla.
All I know is that one of them shocked an elephant and they lost. So it must be Nikola Tesla.
That sentence rules.
Yeah, I think it was something they were trying to show how powerful electricity was. And I think Tesla fried an elephant. And everyone's like, okay, we're going with the other guy.
Wow.
Don't quote me on it. I could be way off with my story here, but that's all I know, my history knowledge.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that one. I think that explanation is correct. So Tesla is talking to you. So far, all I've heard from in this world is Tesla and my sister. So you get a little contact through like radio and what's it called? Like an intercom system kind of thing.
That's what I said.
So it's a really beautiful environment, and it is intriguing, and it's so far again just like walking simulator, a couple little puzzles here, like an electrified walkway that you need to get through, and so you have to find a lever to turn off the electricity. The problem I have is like I have a really hard time with games that look like Bioshock because Bioshock kind of spoiled it for me.
Okay.
So it feels like I'm trying to think of another example. Maybe you can think of one. I don't mind when a game takes like even really extreme inspiration from something, but there's something about how our original Bioshock felt that when a game pulls inspiration from Rapture or themes in Bioshock, posters that look like they're from that era and just that art style, I can't help but feel like it's a ripoff, which feels like a bad word, like a ripoff versus an inspiration. You know what I mean? Something inspired by.
Yeah.
For instance, we were talking about like Soulsborne games earlier. There are so many games, like it can't be understated. It can't be overstated how much Demon Souls and particularly Dark Souls changed the game, pun intended. Everything about that game can be found in various games, all the way down to like, I know when I played Lords
Lords of the Fallen.
Thank you. I was reading about how it's essentially like a clone, and I haven't played any of the Souls games, so to me, I just loved that game.
Because you got a taste of what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't, for some reason, like, it doesn't rub me the wrong way that a lot of the visuals and the, like, dark fantasy themes are repeated in a lot of those games. And I don't really know why that is, or why this one... you know, it's not a bad game. I haven't finished it yet. I'll probably talk about it again next week because I plan on beating it tonight. It's short. I think it's a 4 to 5 hour game.
Oh, nothing too crazy.
At least from what I've read.
Yeah.
And I am intrigued. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. The sister over the intercom is talking about these, a little bit about time travel, but it's just little Easter eggs so far about like what is actually going on, or tidbits, I should say.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know what's going on or what happened on the ship, why it's abandoned.
But it's still fascinating to the point where you're sticking with it.
I am, because there's a very like sort of intense turning point where in chapter 2 you bust open an apartment door because the ship is massive and you're going through these like sections almost like you're in a city, and you would go to, you know, Little Tokyo or whatever. Like there's these little portions of the ship that are basically like apartment areas. So you break into this one apartment and it's just bodies, just shredded to bits.
Delicious.
It's like it looks great. Like the graphics look really, really good, but there's not any like action really happening. So it still feels very walking simulator with a couple of jumps here and there. And I don't know. It feels like there could still be some action that happens at some point, but so far, if I really think about it, nothing has. It's just been like
walking and observing.
And then a couple like intense story beats. But even though the environment looks great, anytime I play a game that takes place in like this era, I'm like, trying to be Bioshock.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from it. I think it was very similar to bring The Dark Knight back. I think anytime we see like a Batman movie nowadays, it always gets compared to The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
and like as far as, because that set the precedent of like the best.
Yeah.
So I think very similar with Bioshock, anything that's even closely resembles it, you're like, okay, but Bioshock did this better or that better. And I still really like that aesthetic and like
I do too.
Era and everything. So I don't get Bioshock as much.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever see it as like a cheap attempt to like capture the Bioshock theme or whatever. But I see where you're coming from, where it's hard to separate it.
Is there anything like that for you, where a series, either a trope in a game or an environment or art style, like it will just never be as good as the first one?
It definitely, it happens a ton when you play sequels more than anything, but
that's true.
You know, playing so many Sonic games, I see how there are trends and things that really work well in Sonic that they abandoned in later games.
Yeah.
And I miss those aspects. I'm like, they're trying to do that. Or the fan games.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people are trying to capture like their own version of it, but I'm like, you just can't beat the originals. There's a reason why they're so beloved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see it a lot with Sonic. Nothing off the top of my head. Metroidvanias.
Sure.
I see that a lot, but again, not necessarily environments, but more so of just like gameplay tropes that they work well for some games, don't work well for others.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because it's like a genre.
Yeah.
So and I partially wonder, and we've talked about this before too. Sometimes I start a game and I don't realize it's like a walking simulator. And if there's any genre I'm the most sick of, it's probably those, especially as a horror fan, because we got an abundance of those.
That's the worst. So many horror games became walking simulators, and I mean, it is a good format for horror.
It's great. It's great, and
degree.
some of them work really well. And I think maybe this is a part of it. When Bioshock came out, I was getting a little sick of first-person shooters because they were everything on Xbox 360 was that.
Yep.
And then Bioshock came out, and it technically is it's that format, but they did so many different things with it. The story was so incredible. It was scary, but it wasn't necessarily like a horror game. And everything you did that was technically first-person shooter behavior in the game was so different style-wise and what you were actually doing.
Yep.
It wasn't all guns, and I think starting a game that looks and feels like Bioshock, but ultimately having no action is maybe the thing I'm feeling. I'm like, this looks cool.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a quick little Bioshock museum because it doesn't have all the flair and all the action.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe that's what I'm feeling. That being said, the story does have me. That environment, it does look great. So if you want that like late 1800s, early 1900s, like ad style and architecture, all that stuff with, a splattering of blood across it, because it definitely does have that sort of horror atmosphere. I have no idea yet what's killing everybody, but it seems like a classic science meddling a little too far and not having the results it desired. But
the elephant's going to get its revenge.
yeah, maybe it's all elephants. If the turn in this game is that Tesla overcharged a bunch of like now zombified elephants, this game might go way up.
That
in
might
its
be
rating.
game of the year right there.
So after saying all that, I want to be clear. It may not be a negative at all, but it's just something I realized. I'm like, man, when something looks like Bioshock and isn't Bioshock, I just have such a love for that game and that series that it's hard to. But I don't do that with like other horror games or anything like that. And there are plenty of like Resident Evil type games. But maybe that's not true. Maybe, I mean, that is true, but maybe I haven't played as many that the environment is like the same. Like I haven't played a lot of horror games where it's like you go into a mansion and it's like that same aesthetic.
That is a lot of horror games, though.
I know they're out there, though. Why? What else takes place in a mansion?
Clock Tower.
That's a clock tower. Oh, no, the original clock tower is like a mansion.
Haunting Ground.
Yeah, that's true.
Kuon. Japanese mansion.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought you were in like...
It's like a castle, but it's...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Dude, everything.
You're right.
Everything. Hurdy-gurdy.
What's hurdy-gurdy?
Don't worry about it. So right now you're not going to rank it, keeper, sleeper, or anything. You got to finish it first.
So far, keeper, but no going in that it is like a walking simulator. You're just looking at stuff, looking for a couple puzzles. I don't think I've picked anything up.
Oh, that kind of walking simulator.
Yeah, like you the only thing you pick up is like stuff to read. I have gotten keys. You find keys. I've gotten as far as like achievements go, in the manner of like, what am I actually doing in this game? It's like finding all the collectibles, which amount to like newspaper clippings, photos that have stuff written on the back. Like it's that kind of thing. Feels a little akin to like a going home.
Or Gone Home.
Gone Home, yep, thank you. So yeah, so far that's it. I mean, it's cool for the aesthetic, but if you're not in the mood for kind of like a slow burn walking simulator, but like I said, it's had some legit jump scares. And when I got to the ship and there was no one there, I was like, oh, is this one of those like Gone Home where it's like you don't even see any other people? It's all environment.
Just, yeah.
But because I've seen a couple of full-bodied somethings, I'm like, oh, is something else going to happen? Is there going to be more here? So yet to see.
I hope something happens then.
I do too.
Keep
So
us posted.
I'll report back on that next week. But if that aesthetic interests you and a little bit of spookiness and some violence without action sounds interesting to you, I would recommend it. Like I said, the game looks great. Pretty quick chapters. There's like a title for each chapter, and then it's just like, and then it just opens up and whatever's going on. You get through that floor, you go to the next one. So pretty linear in that, right? But fun to explore. And I'll let you guys know if anything more interesting happens.
Cool.
Yeah. So far, a keeper.
Okay.
A potential keeper.
I don't think I'll play it, but I want to hear how everything ends up.
Why would you not play it?
Walking sims, they're so boring.
It's true, but you could blast through it pretty quick.
Do I want to, though? I got too many good things to play.
I don't know. That's the thing. After this, I'm annoyed. My OCD with games is kicking in because I legit, like, there's other stuff I want to play. I feel like a deeper, like, bigger gaming experience. But I've started this and Little Kitty Big City.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. I almost thought about just ditching them. But
Both.
they're so short. Like, I literally
Yeah.
think I can sit down and, if I really apply myself, just beat them both.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a champion.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No,
I didn't mean to leave you hanging.
No, that's okay.
What have you been playing?
Brett. Life is full of choices.
That's true.
And I make some that I don't think are very smart.
Okay.
You know, I do it for like mainly entertainment value, but also as a gamer. Sometimes you like to challenge yourself.
Sure.
So back in December, I did this thing called the Game Shuffler. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
So for those who may have not listened to that podcast, it's essentially where I think it was like 8 different games, and they would randomly shuffle as I'm going through them. Mid-play.
Yeah.
So you're in the middle of a boss, shuffles to like The Little Mermaid, and then shuffles to Donkey Kong Country. Like I had a bunch of games. And so one game that I chose to remove from the shuffler due to its difficulty was Ninja Gaiden on the NES.
Oh, that's
The original
right.
Ninja Gaiden. So it's been sitting in my head since December that I need to finish it. So last week, I decided to fix that mistake and beat Ninja Gaiden. And, you know, with most of my retro gaming experiences, I'll use save states. I'll use rewinds.
Yeah.
I'll use, you know, whatever it takes for me to beat it, because those games cheat you, so why not cheat it?
Of course.
However, with Ninja Gaiden, I did nothing.
Why?
I played it as intended. Here's the thing. It's one of those games that I think you have to beat like that. It's like a rite of passage.
Okay.
I will forever be remembered as one of the 2 people on planet Earth to complete Ninja Gaiden as intended. Good Lord, don't do that. Don't do it.
It's not worth being in the ranks.
I recommend using a guide, using cheat codes, using rewinds, using save states, contacting the developer, paying someone to play it for you. Any way to get through this awful game.
Was it fun for a time?
That's the thing. It's a good game.
Okay.
It's a good game. And it's fun. Yeah, it's like the first 4 stages are what you expect.
Okay.
Little difficulty, couple like weird deaths here and there, but nothing. And the game's actually nicer than a lot of people give it credit for, at least for the first part, where every time you get to a new level, it like saves. So if you were to die like on a boss battle, you would go back to the beginning of the stage as opposed to the beginning of like the world.
Oh, that is relatively forgiving. But how many lives do you get?
2 lives. You can get more lives by
2?
Well, 2. No game overs don't matter. You can get a game over and you'll go back to that stage where you were. Yeah. So game overs don't matter. You technically have unlimited lives, but if you get a game over, you have to restart the stage as opposed to where you are in that stage.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's separated by worlds and then stages within the worlds. But the stages are quick. Like you'll get through a stage and it'll be like 5 or 6 screens, and then you're in the next level or the next stage. So you know, going through it can be pretty smooth. Some of the bosses are tough. Like again, average challenge you'd expect on the NES.
Sure.
Once you get to World 6, being the final world of the game, everything gets thrown out the window. The enemy spawns are ridiculous and unfair. The deaths are numerous. There are so many things actively against you that if you take a step in the wrong direction, you're dead. Enemies will respawn behind you. They'll respawn under you. It feels just like a broken mess.
Yeah.
Like not even intended to be beaten. So, you know, after hours, no exaggeration, hours trying to get through 3 levels to get to the final boss of the game, of just learning patterns. And I'll say I'm a pro now at it.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was dying like every couple steps. Now I can get through the first 3 stages, no problem. Because when you get to the final boss, there are 3 phases of the final boss, which sucks. But if let's say you beat the first phase and you're fighting the second phase, he'll kill you. No, you don't get reset at the beginning. No matter the number of lives, you don't get reset at the boss battle like every other one. It restarts you to the beginning of the world. So then you had to go through the 3 hardest levels I've ever done in gaming again and again to get back to the boss.
Who also sucks.
Who also sucks. You only get one chance. Every time you get to the boss, if he kills you, you restart the world. Regardless of lives, regardless of... Like, I got to the boss the first time, and I had 2 lives, and I was like, oh, I'm going to crush him.
Why did they do that?
I have no idea. It doesn't happen at any other point in the game. It doesn't even tell you. It's just the boss is so strong, he sends you back in time to go fight him again.
Dude, that is brutal.
Awful. Easily. So it took me over 7 hours to beat the last world. The game itself, I think it was like an hour and a half to get me to that last part. Yeah, so 7 hours over 2 days. I did like 3 hours one day and 4 hours the next day.
So did you save when you got to that final world?
No save states. What I did save was at the beginning of it. So I could quit and come back.
Right.
So technically it's a save state, but only so I didn't have to like shut off my PC or
I'm not trying to like out you here,
No,
but I'm
that's...
more so thinking, how crazy is it that didn't exist?
Right. If you shut off your NES, you had to start at the very beginning. Like there was no save at all. So you had to do it in one sitting.
The craziest thing to me about that is like, I think I mentioned this when I played that Adventures of Batman and Robin game, SNES, is, I use save states in that game because when you get to a boss, you don't know what their patterns or strategies are yet. So, and some bosses, like, it would take you getting all the way to that final boss.
Yep.
And then you might die and still have no idea what that boss's
You learn
movesets
nothing because he killed you because you went in with like little health or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the death thing. Like first time you go in, you don't know you have to restart the whole world.
Right.
Which again is one of the hardest gauntlets of like anything I've ever done.
Is
so learning that I had to go through it all again.
Ugh.
Oh my God. It's awful. It's awful.
So terrible.
So yeah, that final world makes it like one of the hardest games ever. It's the patterns, the movement, the punishment. If you legitimately, if you walk and then take a step back, the enemies from the previous area will like fly towards you and like glitch off screen and attack you. Like it's just designed poorly to destroy the player. Mentally, physically. So the only plus to all that is the boss, thankfully, once you defeat a phase, it saves.
Oh,
so
nice.
Then
At least there's that.
Right, if you get to phase 2 and he kills you, you come back, it's still phase 2.
Yeah.
The health doesn't stay the same. It's always a fresh bar of health. So yeah, that's the nice thing, at least, that if you're going back to the boss and you beat one of the phases, you don't have to fight the phase again.
Dude, but after all that, they owe you at least
that.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't recommend playing it without save states because it is just...
Not worth it.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I don't know how anybody beat it back in the day. I guess I did because you really just had to learn everything.
Yeah.
But I went through it hours and hours of dying, and I probably went through like 200 lives.
How many deaths do you think before it stopped being fun for you?
Probably I don't know. It was interesting to learn the patterns. I was frustrated right off the rip, though.
Really?
I died so many times in that first part of the first stage because it was just the spawns were ridiculous. Unlike anything you've seen in the rest of the game. There were a couple rough points, like I said, earlier in the game before you get to stage 6 with bad spawns and things like that. But again, I just chalked it up to like, NES, they have issues like that. I'll just remember to jump here instead of slicing like I would. Like,
sure.
But yeah, it just became... I just had to get good, you know, and I just had to do it again and again and again. So,
have you played the Shinobi games?
I have played the original Shinobi and the Shinobi PS2 game.
I forgot there was a Shinobi PS2
and that's really hard. That game's tough.
Do you remember the NES one enough to compare it?
Genesis, right? Shinobi was on the Genesis?
I think Shinobi 3 was on the Genesis.
What was the Master System? Was Shinobi 1?
I thought the first Shinobi was on NES.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm thinking of Gaiden.
I think it's a Sega series.
You're a Sega series.
Thank you. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Shinobi? Yeah, I thought the first one was on... Great, you pulled up Naruto.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I think it's a Sega series.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you're right.
Shinobi.
I want, like, the history.
The history.
Here.
Oh.
Shinobi, 1987...
On the Master System or Genesis? Because I have a Shinobi collection on Xbox. So, and I think I only played the first one in it.
Sega Mark III.
Oh, God. Maybe it was arcade only? Whatever. I played it on the collection.
TurboGrafx.
Oh.
Oh, NES.
Really? That's funny.
What the hell? Nintendo Switch. Okay. Hang on a second.
Hold on.
Shinobi. NES. I feel like... Yeah, Shinobi 3...
was Genesis.
Return of the Ninja Master. That's the one I had. That game ruled.
Yeah, that game is wicked good.
It was so fun.
So that might have been the one I played. I thought I played the first one, though. I don't know. I guess I had to revisit
it was on other stuff.
Yeah.
Produced by Sega. But did Sega have games on NES?
I don't think so, because Sega had their own console at that point.
Arcade system. Oh, maybe it was an arcade game.
No, I do see NES on there, though. Right? In the middle?
Yeah. Weird.
That is weird. I want to look into that.
Well, anyways.
What was your question about it?
If you could compare that to Gaiden, because I remember Shinobi being particularly fun. I'm sure it's also really hard later in the game.
Ninja Gaiden's worse, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I don't recall the NES version of Shinobi, so they might be on the same level, but I'll have to get back to you with that.
All right, I'll let you.
I want to play. So now I'm going to play Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3 with save states, rewinds, everything. I'm not going to do those on
So they had 3 on the NES?
Yeah. Well, I think the third one might have been on Super Nintendo because they had the Ninja Gaiden Trilogy collection on Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if Ninja Gaiden 3 was on NES. I know 2 was, but
I still have not gone through all of the
3D ones, the action ones, or
did I? I don't think I have.
I know you've done 1.
I don't think I beat it.
Nobody beat 1. I have years later. But yeah, once you get to Alma, I mean, that's where everybody quits because she's impossible.
Really?
On the original. Then they came up with Ninja Gaiden Black and she was much easier.
Interesting.
And then there's Ninja Gaiden Sigma.
Which is what?
On PS3, and that is...
Now it sounds funny because Sigma's like a meme word, but...
Ninja Gaiden Sigma male. But yeah, that one, I believe it lets you use weapons from Ninja Gaiden 2.
Okay.
And it, again, quality of life features, things to make it a little easier, some changes. But yeah, so if you play original Ninja Gaiden, very hard.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden Black, still hard, but easier.
Doable.
Doable, yeah. And then Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is the easier of the other two because you can use other weapons and stuff.
That feels like cheating.
Does it? It's a cool way to experience the game. I would argue it's probably not the ideal way to play it originally.
Yeah.
I would say play Black because the original, it's unforgiving.
Yeah.
And then the later bosses suck even more. If you can get past Alma in the original,
Who's Alma? Why don't I remember Alma?
she's a big boob lady in the church that comes down. She's like a little demon. I think her name's Alma. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe I never got there.
Yeah, that's a huge point where people stopped. Alma.
Does she look like a spider?
No, well.
Oh, wait. I do remember her.
Yeah.
I feel like I beat her.
Maybe you did, but that's the stopping point for a lot of people. And then there is what shows up later. There's a bone like dragon boss near the end of the game that sucks.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
And then I believe he leads right into the final boss, and that's why it sucks because if you beat him, you have to go fight the final boss after with like no save or health in between.
Goodness gracious,
it's brutal. But Ninja Gaiden 2, awesome, still very tough.
Yeah.
And then Ninja Gaiden 3, that one's rough. They
really?
It's because they removed dismemberment because they felt like it was too violent or something. They brought it back in Razor's Edge, which is the Sigma version of it. That's the way to play Ninja Gaiden 3 if you want to. Because that, again, there's like the weapons were weird, and there was just a lot of changes that just didn't feel like Ninja Gaiden. 2's the best, though. I play that. I'm working on a new playthrough of that right now.
Are you?
Yeah, because they brought the collection to PS5, the Master Collection, and it's on Game Pass, actually. You can play them all. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, I think is what it's called. But that has the Sigma versions of 1 and 2.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Whatever.
You just said it was cheating.
I didn't say I'm above that.
I recommend all Ninja Gaiden games. Play it with every cheats you got.
Yeah,
all
right.
So yeah, a sleeper. Ninja Gaiden sleeper.
Don't play it.
It
even
sucks.
with save states. Is it not worth it?
It's a cool game.
Watch a playthrough.
Yeah, watch a playthrough. It's because it doesn't do anything wrong until the spawns come in. But even earlier on in the game, there's a lot of cheap deaths. But as far as an NES game goes, I think it would have been a masterpiece or a classic at least that people would talk about more to this day, other than the difficulty aspect. But nobody got to experience it fully because it was too hard.
That's a bummer and a weird thing about gaming back then.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being someone who designed a later level in that game.
And killed like future respect for it because it's so hard. Same with like Ghosts and Goblins. People won't even touch that game because it's so hard.
Yeah.
Having done both of those challenges, beat Ghosts and Goblins without saving, and Ninja Gaiden, I would say Ninja Gaiden's worse.
Wow. I remember you talking about Ghosts and Goblins.
Because that one took me 5 hours. Ninja Gaiden took me 7 to 8 hours, give or take. So
brutal.
Yeah, it's and that was only one stage. Ghosts and Goblins was the same thing, but the whole game was hard. So
Yeah.
but I don't know. Ninja Gaiden was just because it was the one stage was way worse.
I feel like that's why Super Nintendo was so great, is because they started making games that were like, they were still challenging.
Yeah.
But
They made it with the intention for you to beat it. They were telling a story. They
Yeah.
were doing great gameplay. It wasn't the arcade days where they're trying to get you to like
Yeah.
rent it over the weekend and not be able to beat it. Stuff
yeah,
like
I
that.
feel like Sega and SNES were the first like, oh, did you beat that game yet?
Yeah.
They also started bringing in like, well, NES might have had this, the codes
to
to have you start.
Metroid had codes. Yeah, a good chunk of games had it. Some of them games had saves. Zelda had a save on it. That one, but it was a special like cartridge, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other games had it, but Zelda did. Zelda saved, which was really cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, I don't remember what else did. RPGs must have, because there's no way you're playing a Final Fantasy
Oh, yeah, you're right.
and not being able to save in
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I remember Zelda being one of the earliest
Dude,
examples.
how often do you think those saves got corrupted?
Oh
on
my
that
god!
technology.
I couldn't even tell you. It's weird too because Metroid originally had saving because the Famicom was actually a disc system. They had floppy disks. So Metroid, Mario,
my
Zelda, they
gosh.
were all on floppy disks.
Yeah.
Metroid had a save capability on that, but then when they ported it to NES, they didn't want to pay for the saves, so they just gave you the world's biggest code to type in to reload your save.
Wow,
It's-
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's frustrating for that, but newer versions you can save, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal,
Not
guys.
a big deal, brah. But yeah, so Ninja Gaiden, I had to give it a sleeper.
Sleeper.
Only to save your sanity.
There are other ninja games out there.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden, if we're talking 3D ones, mega keepers.
Yeah.
All of them.
But the OG.
OG.
Get out of here. You know, I was thinking about this today. Mm-hmm. Tim, I was thinking about this today.
Let's do it, Brett.
I'm curious what you guys think. If you play video games regularly, it's like there are so many older games that I want to play, but what I'm realizing is older games are becoming how do I say it?
I don't know.
Games are becoming part of that collection of games faster than ever before because we're getting new games in such bulk.
Yes.
Right? Such high frequency. So, like, we've talked about how the 360 is like a retro console at this point.
Yes.
There are still games on that, like, we were talking about the Souls games. I never played Demon or Dark Souls. And it's like, those are retro games at this point. There are remakes of both of them.
That is crazy to say that sentence, but you're right.
I mean,
They
am
are.
I wrong?
No,
Like,
no.
some people might think about it before them, but especially like generations after ours.
Yeah, I consider anything 2 generations back is retro.
Gotta be.
Which at this point is 360 and PS3.
What year did 360 come out?
2005?
2005. So there are people
Yeah.
in, let's see, 2005. What's the math there? There are people who are almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
That were probably born after that console even came out.
That's gross.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's like,
That's a huge chunk of time
yeah.
that, like, yeah, why would you not consider them retro at that long? Because the time we were calling, like, NES and Super Nintendo retro is the same time it's been since the 360 era.
Easily.
So, I mean, it has to be.
I mean, it was probably around that era. Well, no, I mean, PlayStation, PS2. It was PS2 and 360? PS3 and 360.
Yeah, 360 came out earlier than everything else.
Yeah.
I believe the Wii and the PS3 came out a year later.
That's right. I remember that. That's when Xbox kind of had a chokehold on the market, I feel like. But
Because then they had Halo coming out, and that was
Yeah.
2007, I think.
then Modern Warfare
Oh, dude. 360 killed it.
killed it. So yeah, I'm realizing that, and I'm like, I mean, I've been doing this for years, but I will put off newer games because I'm like, oh, I never played this one. So
Yep.
I'll go back and play one. And all of a sudden, it's been 3 years, 4 years since the last Resident Evil game came out. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? How did I miss?
What happened?
How have I still not finished 7,
Yep.
8, 4 remake?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played any of those.
On the plus side, you have so many great games to play.
It's true, but I'm like, I'm realizing like my tolerance for okay games is unfortunately going down. And I
Yes.
say unfortunately because I think there's a lot of merit to a game like Close to the Sun that I started. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yep.
But then I quickly am like, I need
Right.
to play these other bigger games. And, you know, like Zelda games I still haven't played, stuff on the Switch that I've still not put time into.
Mario Odyssey, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and like I still like they've gotten so. I do the same thing with movies. It's like I haven't gotten. It's kind of like the lifeblood of this podcast, but. It's like, we just started, it's not out yet, but a series that we're going to start on YouTube that we just filmed part 1 for. It's going to force us to go back and watch older stuff that we know going in is not very good.
Yeah, there are certain movies on that list that I was like, I do not want to watch
Same.
these.
And like, it's gonna be fun, I think, but...
because I think we'll be able to talk about them, and I think there's something to be said about having those movies under your belt.
I agree.
And like, there can be conversations at some point in the future where you're like, yeah, I did see that.
Right. Yeah, and some of it too falls into, well, maybe this is a different conversation, but with streaming and stuff like that, I'm like, and I don't think I like this. I'm wagging my finger if you're listening. If I'm going to go back and play like an older game, there is a part of me that's like, you should at least stream this or make some kind of content out of it. Now, for you, that's like what you do professionally.
Right. That helps me a lot, complete a lot of older games. Because I'm like, this would be better for other people to witness me suffer through. Like Ninja Gaiden. I would not play it as I did if I didn't stream it.
You'd be, absolutely. And that makes a lot of sense. But I'm like, I want to maintain that part of me that's okay with not making content out of everything.
Yes. And that is hard because I had a big issue. Well, I've always been pretty good with it. Like new releases and stuff, I save for myself. Or really big games. Yeah. Even though they might be good stream wise, I know I will just enjoy it myself.
You want to sit and just take it in.
Exactly. Because you have to have that hard line where you like, and you don't make content about it, and it's just a game for you. So I do that with a lot of newer stuff or big stuff. But most short things, I like the aspect of people watching it because a lot of people get to learn about these games.
Right.
And I love sharing.
That's very cool.
I love sharing these games that people are like, oh, I've never heard of this before. Or like, oh, this actually looks pretty cool. So I don't know. That's where the fun comes in. But I get it. Like you're almost stopping yourself from playing a game because you're like, well, I should stream this. So you keep it to the side.
Yeah.
And so I have that with a couple games that I really should just play. Right. But I'm like, I should save this for a stream. But I might not get to it for months. Right. Even though I'm ready to play it now, just because how I do my streams. But so I'm with you there. Content adjust how we play games.
Yeah, it totally does. And I'm like, I know there's so many indies and so many classics that I haven't played, and it's tempting to start those. Yeah. But like, okay, here's a good example. What's it called? Dead Cell? Dead Cells?
Dead Cells, yeah.
Dead Cells. I just downloaded that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's an old game at this point.
Yeah. But it's worth playing.
But I know it's worth playing. But it's like, okay, if I start that.
Now, the only problem with that one is it's a roguelike. So it could...
It is a roguelike?
So that could take you as short as 2 hours to like beat it, or it'll take you, 10, 15 hours.
I thought it was
everything.
I thought it was a standard Metroidvania.
It plays like one, but it's not.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I might delete that as soon as possible.
I say, look, I'm saving you trouble.
Yeah, no, I have wanted to play that. It's been on the list for a minute, but I'm like, am I going to play that, or am I going to start Controls back on Game Pass? And I'm like, I haven't.
You would have to replay it all the way to get to where you were, right?
Yes.
Because you played it on PlayStation before?
I did, and I definitely got a few hours in, but it was really good.
Yeah. And it's Remedy, and you love Remedy.
I do.
And yeah, I mean, I'm always in the mindset of play what you're in the mood to play. Yeah. Because that gives you the best experience.
That's true.
And like playing things that you feel like you need to play them could really lead to you to get bored with them. Because it's the new game, it's a big game, and you're like, okay, I'm playing it because I feel like I need to. Like Alan Wake, I got it. Alan Wake 2. And I bought it, and I played it for like a couple hours, and I'm like, I'm not super feeling this. Yes. So I gave it like a month, and I came back, and it was one of the best things I've ever played.
That's a good point.
And I think it was because I was in the right mood. Yeah. Not because I felt like I needed to. Even though I was late to the party and wanted to make content on it, I was like, I'll just play it when I feel it. Yeah. And it works much better. Yeah. But I'm with you. Playing games that are just okay, it's getting tougher and tougher.
It is.
Especially Game Pass. That's the thing. Like, I have all of these services that give me free games that, what's that ocean one? What lies... what lies beneath? No.
The underneath dark lurking, the lurking.
What lurks below?
No, it's something weird.
The lies. What lies? I keep saying what lies beneath. Anyways, I have no idea what that game's like, but because it's on Game Pass, I really want to play it. Yeah. It was not on my radar. I have 100 other games I should probably play, but that's in my mind of like what
still wakes the deep. See, it's weird. We weren't even close.
No, but we knew what we were talking about. Yeah. But yeah, like that's one that I was not on my backlog, is like doesn't even anything, but I'm in the mood to play it.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to play it before I play everything else on my backlog.
But then, what if you get like 3 hours deep and you're like, man, this game's wildly mediocre?
It is not what I wanted. Yeah.
You're going to finish it, though.
I'm going to finish it. Yeah. Which isn't good because there are so many better things out there.
But somebody made it, put the effort into it.
That's why movies are easier to watch if they're just
It's
okay.
true.
Because you're at most 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Where games could be 6, like minimum 6.
Yeah.
There are some games that are shorter, like Little Kitty Big City, you can do in 4 hours, 3 hours. So there's something that are like that. But yeah, I would not fault you if you never play a mediocre game again. With what you have in your backlog, I don't think you ever have to play.
It's true. That's the thing. I definitely never need to ever play a bad game again.
I think you have
which is pretty funny.
That is pretty amazing.
Same thing with movies. I could spend the rest of my life watching and playing only like the highest reviewed, best quality stuff ever.
Because that's where we are with content.
Yeah.
That there's just so much because you have shows and movies and like...
I won't do that, though.
But I think we need the okay and bad stuff to appreciate the good stuff even more.
You do.
Because if you only watch good stuff, then that's when you become like a snob.
Yeah.
And because then when you're only watching 9s, you need things that are better than 9s to still be interesting.
Plus, some like, I don't know. Yeah. Plus, some like lower rated, you need the 5s that are out of control action movies or like the weirdest games ever.
Yep.
Plus, if nobody ever consumed mediocre content, no one would ever consume anything I make.
Was that all just a setup for the joke? That whole conversation?
The whole thing, yeah.
Dude, you're above mediocre. You're above average. You're above top tier.
Top tier.
You're like an artsy fartsy movie that only those who really appreciate it can enjoy it.
That's true. I'm very art house.
Yeah.
You've probably never heard of me.
That's a good one.
All right, we can wrap it up here.
Yes.
Thank you guys for hanging out. It's been episode number 295, which is very crazy. We are rapidly approaching episode 300, which I'm probably going to say every episode until then.
Yeah.
You can hang out with us on every social media platform. That's at the Keep Up Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Tim's got something on his shirt.
No, I think that's just part of the shirt.
Yeah, it is. It's not stained or anything.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, what's that? Oh, God, it's
But
everywhere.
what's weird is I didn't notice the little dots until you started looking at them.
Yeah. I had to show you another creepy little dots. Well, I can show you right now. There's a spider that laid a bunch of eggs up there. I had to get rid of it.
Those are eggs?
I think so. I don't know what else it could be.
That's a nightmare, and I'm leaving immediately. You can also get yourself some extra bonuses at patreon.com/thekeepup. Shout out to patrons. You guys rule. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble, where he talks nonsense for about a minute and a half. Tim, your theme...
You guys, you don't want them to find us on socials?
I already said that. You were looking at your shirt.
But you didn't ask me to list my socials. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you freaked me out with the eggs. Tim, where can everybody find all your stuff?
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution all over the place. I don't even need to go through the list because Brett wants to get out of here from the eggs. But if I'm on social media, if you're on social media, that's where I am.
You're not going to find them because these eggs are going to hatch. And
Brett, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at This Drink I Like It on Instagram. That's got a link tree to all my stuff. Or if you're specifically and only interested in my music, you can go to Sounds Like ATA on Instagram. And other places. I got new music coming out soon. I got 3 shows in August. New single and music video has been out a little over. It's probably been a month and a half now that Hubie's been out.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Excellent's coming out soon, though, right?
Yes, I think end of August, but I'm not 100% sure. Just
Soon
got
enough.
the final for the music video. Dude, it's so good. I'm very excited about the way
Jazz
the video
looked
came
pretty
out.
excited, too.
He's so stoked. Yeah, my son's in it, and he's amped. He's a professional actor now, so, get
Put
ready.
him on IMDb.
Yes, yeah, he'll be on there soon. So if you want to just read his single credit over and over again, you can do that. I'll hopefully have a merch store soon if Tim can help me figure out how to make a merch store.
That's
after
easy.
This.
I got it. It's already done. You just had to eat a couple spider eggs.
Oh gosh! All right, Tim, your theme is eating spider eggs and Godzilla hatching from them, and then creating a merch store for it.
Okay.
I'll see you guys.
I
Next
remember
week.
all that?
Love you. Bye.
Come down to Godzilla Emporium, where you can buy things like a dinosaur and Godzilla Volume 2 on DVD and half of this Tootsie Roll I was chewing on. Godzilla Emporium, next to your local supermarket. You take a left, you go by the guy who says, here, have some spider eggs. But you buy some eggs from him and bring them to the Emporium. And then you give the Emporium guy working there named Bonzilla, give him the eggs. And he'll go, king-a-bingy, and he'll turn the eggs into little Godzilla babies. And that's where Godzilla Jr. came from, little spider eggs. And so they're a weird combination of Godzilla's head and spider bodies. And when you take these eggs and bring them to Bonzilla's son, Groggly goes, hangamangi, and turns it into a digital storefront called Etsy. And there you can buy the rest of the items available at the Godzilla Emporium, which includes a poster of Godzilla eating a poster, of Godzilla eating a poster, of Godzilla eating a poster, infinitely forever. You can also buy the unrated version of Godzilla Goes to Vegas, in which he does a lot of gambling and finds Lady Godzilla, and they hit their tails together. And so I'll leave you with this. If you're trying to collect Godzilla DVDs, don't. Go watch them on some streaming stuff so you can actually consume the media. No reason to be like me and collect things physically, so then I can buy all the things. Thank you.